All right, guys, so what we're going to be going over, we got Coach Dana here. We see all the time that people do kettlebell swings incorrectly. People that have been training at other places, they come here, and it's kind of like a squat hybrid. They're not getting the effect that they should get. So I'm going to go over with Dana, Coach Dana, on how to do this correctly. But first, to do it correctly, you need to know what incorrect looks like. So Dana, what are some common things that you see that people do wrong when they're doing a kettlebell swing?
So one of the first things you see is the way people pick it up. Sometimes they'll just go right to the kettlebell, they're already rounding out through their back, and then they just stand straight up with it. Okay, so they're already putting themselves in a bad position before they even start the movement. Another common error that we see is, as you mentioned before, squatting the kettlebell. Okay, so as they're coming down, all right, you're bending their knees and making it a more quad dominant exercise. So a lot of times too, what that does is not only are we not getting that proper hip hinge, but then we're putting a lot of stress on the lower back.
Sure.
Okay, and then you're trying to swing it back up. Now we're getting more shoulders and arms involved. All right, which is not, again, really effective for this movement. Okay, or the goal of this movement. Last but not least, another one that we see, which we'll go over in part 2, is when we're bringing that kettlebell back down, we're swinging it too low.
Yeah.
Okay, so going below the knees here. Okay, again, we're kind of losing that form through our lats. Okay, we start to round out, and then we're not going to be able to really get that good stretch position for the glutes to fire back. Okay, as we come back up. So. Okay, we'll cover how to fix those things, in our next series.
Okay. So let me ask you a couple questions.
Sure.
Where should people be feeling this?
Yeah. Okay, so where we should be feeling is at our posterior chain. So guys, think your little bit of lower back, but in a good way. Your butt, okay, and your hamstrings. All right. And if we do stay tight throughout that whole movement, we are going to get some forward here as well.
Okay, so we want to feel it in the backside.
But the backside is mostly where we want to feel. That's why it's so important that when we're swinging that kettlebell, we're keeping it nice and tight. So we like to say, attack the zipper, okay? Really hinge those hips back, okay? It's a hinge movement, all right? And then firing back up, using that backside for that explosive effort.
Okay, and before you show us that, what about when people try to control the kettlebell with their arms? Like they're trying to muscle it. Is that correct? Is that incorrect?
So that's incorrect, okay? So a lot of times we can see that as coaches. So we'll notice that people try to just muscle it up. If you look at the bottom of the kettlebell here, when I come up just using it, okay, I'm using my shoulders. That bottom of the kettlebell is almost facing down towards the floor. So that's a good way to know, am I using too much arms on there? So you really want to see the bottom of that kettlebell straight forward. So the top there when I'm swinging, okay, I'm almost looking at the top like a vertical plank, keeping everything nice and tight, right to about shoulder level. Okay, so we're not really going, above that. And again, you want to see the bottom of that kettlebell straight forward in front of you.
Okay. Okay, so now we'll go on to part 2.